Now in Wazimataz, let's take a look at the first 8 measures, and you'll notice that as we progress here, there's a very basic variation that comes up, which is simply whether I do something on the second string or the first string. So watch where that comes in. But taking a look at the first measure, this is really an E chord. So if you were to play a C shape, refinger that with fingers 2, 3, 4, lift the pinky, and slide those middle fingers up and bar at 4, fret 4 there, just 4 strings. That's where the shape starts, and that's where the whole tune is based from. So you start off with measure 1, then your pinky drops for that 7 on the second string, and as soon as you slide it up to 9, you want to make sure your bass has to come down as soon as you arrive at 9 and your entire chord releases. And there's those open strings. Now when played slowly, those open strings don't sound like anything, but when you land on other shapes, they suddenly come to life. Now in the second measure, I'm barring 4 strings, and I do kind of a roll. And the reason I do a roll is when I put that second or third finger down on string 1, fret 4, by doing a roll, I've bought myself a split second of time where I can borrow my index down to play that 4. Like that. Then I lift that and I have my pinch, and I slide my pinky back after playing the 5. Now when I slide the pinky back again, you'll notice that open string, which sounds wrong when played slowly. That sounds awkward, but a lot of times those dissonant notes, when coming up to speed, make total sense. So the second measure we have, there's the I finger. And then you roll into this B7th on measure 3. But then as soon as you roll into it, when that 2 comes down on string 5, fret 2, your index finger plays your 3rd string 2nd fret. And then your index drops down to complete the top part of a B7th. And then I use my 2nd and 3rd fingers to target 2 to 4, the slide up. Now if you just examine the second half of measure 3 in this motif, this theme that sets the whole tune up, you'll notice that I pinch the 2s and strings 3 and 1. And the trick is this, to get kind of a snappy little sound. As soon as you arrive at the 4, you do want to use your middle finger to target that open string on 2. Right there. And then when you come back, you want to make sure you hit that bass on the return. And then basically after that in measure 4, you go to a regular E major chord, drop your pinky down to your 2nd string 2nd fret, and the first half is a simple. And then the second half you have a pinch, you drop your pinky down, and on the pull off, which you want to pluck down, don't just lift it straight up. So that measure 4 slowly is. Now in measure 5, you have a repeat of the that first section, the idea, which is 6-3, and then there's that roll again, and I use PM and A, which is thumb, middle, and ring. And by doing that roll, I keep my index free, and that's where my melody goes to string 1, 7 to 9. And as soon as I arrive at 9, my thumb hits 6. And once again, there's those open strings that don't seem like they should work, but when played at full speed, you'll notice in the video I did that they do. And then we have a repeat of that section. And that is identical. 6 is identical to 2. So you can reduce your stress and pressure by noticing either how many repeat measures there are or simple variations. So an example of that is measure 7 compared to 3. That's an identical opening, but then instead of like in 3, we move that one finger up from string 1 to string 2. And I like to play the 2s with P and M, or thumb and middle. And then when I show up at 4, my index finger plucks that 4 on string 2. And then when I come back to the pair of 2s, my thumb comes down to 2 on string 3. Then A is free, my ring finger. Then for that very last 2 at the end of the segment there, measure 8, I use my second finger and I give a real strong vibrato. And I sometimes with my right thumb, my picking thumb, I might even get underneath the note and snap it like a snare drum. So that's... And then when we're going to repeat into the next segment, we just ignore that last one and we jump from 1 to 2. You can see that in the music.